The views expressed during this program does not necessarily represent those of really any sane person with a brain. Listening to this program may actually kill brainwaves and make you dumber than you may already be. Listener discretion is advised. Really, because this show sucks to begin with.
Good afternoon or good evening, handsome.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you? And it's really actually evening. I don't know why we're going with this afternoon crap.
I got no idea because I'm stupid. But anyway, welcome to the Fantasy Fat Guys. I am Bill Powers.
I'm Darren Porterhouse, the Prima.
And we bring you probably the most useless information you can ever want in a podcast every single week. So you can get us on fine places like Apple, iTunes. So you can get us there. You can pretty much get us everywhere, but we're trying to make believe that we're big time and we only go to one place. So.
Exactly. That's what we were taught. So that's what we're going to go with. But
right.
Today, we have a special guest, Mr. Powers.
It's always good when we have a special guest because that way at least somebody knows something.
And that's what we brought in today.
Would care to introduce him, my friend.
Well, good friend of mine for a long time. My friend Sweeney Murti joining us. Sweeney is, of course, works with the fan, covers the Yankees for WFAN, does post-game for the Yankees, has done an occasional game here and there.
Yep.
And people have to end long streaks of doing ball games, stuff like that. Also a contributor for MLB Network and also works with SNY. So Sweeney does a lot of stuff. And most of all, he gives us credibility tonight. So Sweeney, welcome.
Yeah. Wow, that could be the hardest I've worked out in a long time trying to give you guys credibility here.
It's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. So before we get going, okay, I got to tell this story. Sweeney, like 11, 12 years ago, was in our league.
More than that. Probably, I want to say it's probably around 2007, 2008, somewhere around there.
Okay. So it was a while ago. It was 13,
so about 13, 14 years ago, somewhere 15, somewhere in that range.
So before the season started, because we're degenerates and we have nothing else to live for but fantasy baseball, we had a meeting in Queens to discuss the league, whatever.
Over in Bayside, I remember, right?
Yeah, Bayside. Yep. And, Sweeney came on by. I had my son with me. And, we did the season. He did very well.
Oh, no.
Fantastic in it. But the following season, me and my family went down to Florida for spring training. So we went to Dunedin to go see the Yankees and the Blue Jays. And my son goes, "Hey, Dad, look over there. That's Sweeney." And I was like, "Okay." He goes, "Can we say hi?" I said, "Sure." We walk over. We go behind the dugout. And we're like, "Hey, Sweeney." And this is what he does. And then walks away. And my son, who's like 11 years old, goes, "Dad, Sweeney just big timed us."
Oh, no, I didn't. Do you have any idea where I was going, who I was seeing, what I was doing? Do you have any idea?
You were talking to somebody in front of the dugout, but it was just fun. I said,
the funny part of the whole thing is, A, I love the fact that Bill got snubbed, which is awesome. But B, the fact that your 10-year-old or 11-year-old son knew at the time that Sweeney was big time in you. That was great.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize to your son.
Mick is now in his 20s, and we don't really care.
We don't really care. It's over.
My favorite part, my favorite part, and my least favorite part of the fantasy league that we were in, the exact same thing. Because what would happen was the reason I was terrible, or the couple of reasons I was terrible at it. One was I tried to bring this whole, hey, let's try and act like a real GM type of feel to it.
Right.
And that never works in fantasy, right? Because
no. It's got to wake some first that claims the hot player. That's what it is.
Yeah, I was playing this long game of this guy over 162 games. This guy will be pretty good. That doesn't work at all in fantasy.
Nope.
The other part that really, this is how long ago it was, okay? It was pre-iPhones, really. It was
absolutely
computers, okay? So this is probably like 2005, 2006, 2007 when we're doing this. And what you guys would all do with your 9-to-5 day jobs would be emailing all these trade proposals back and forth while you were working. I didn't actually sit down in front of my computer because of all my pregame stuff or whatever. I wouldn't sit down in front of the computer till about 7:00 at night. And I would get all these crazy emails, and you guys would all be so pissed off at me for not responding to your trade proposals while you were working.
So
Now,
Sweeney, big time.
I'm working and I have to respond. But you can't because you got to do this. You got to take your son here. You got to do that. And we never got trades done because our clocks didn't really match up. And you guys all get pissed off at me for not responding until 8:00 at night.
So what you're saying is Sweeney big time the entire league before he big timed me and my son.
That's right. That's right.
The best part about that, though, is you're 100% right. The first time you do this, you manage it like it's a league, and then you're like you're a GM. Then you realize I'm cutting guys that I know are going to be really good later. I'm making I don't make a lot of trade offers. Bill, on the other hand, gives you every bad offer known to man. He's the guy that offers you crap for your best player and says, "Hey, this is a really important move. You should really do it."
Dude, I sit in front of a computer for 8 to 16 hours doing nothing. I've got nothing better to do.
So then about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, as I'm settling into the game and keeping score, and I'm checking emails and stuff, and I see all these trade proposals coming in. I can't do this. That's when I realized that I was just really wrong for the entire fantasy baseball league type of activity. Right. It was nothing against you. I've never joined one since because I knew that the whole thing was just wrong.
It could have only gotten better for you after all. Right. It could have only gone up. Let's be honest. Any league where I'm commissioner, there's issues. We'll just put it that way. I had to bring in my friend Gino to be co-commissioner just to clean up the things that I don't get done during the day.
Which is pretty much everything.
Exactly. My skill is that I'm able to get 12 people together. Gino's skill is doing all the paperwork. And it's not to insult Gino. He's just better at it than I am.
The only thing you're good enough for is to make the payouts at the end of these.
And I pay people off at the end because it's never for me. I haven't won in about 5 years.
I actually didn't destroy the league completely. So hopefully I'll bring that same level of credibility to this show tonight.
Well, I think we jump right in, Mr. Powers. No, what's the latest? Is there a chance at a 162-game season, sir?
Yeah, they're going to make a deal tonight.
Oh, I think we're far away from that. Listen, for me, I think what best case scenario wouldn't be them saying, okay, there's a deal. Like, to me, it would be like, we've got enough, like, we have enough key elements to open the gates, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're already behind. And this is just a gut. I don't know nobody's really told me this, but my gut tells me that they would open up camps when they have enough of a breakthrough to make them believe that the real deal is, like a day or two away. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they would make you wait until crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's before they start up camp. But they do have some work to do if they want to figure out the schedule. The players will have something to say about it, but MLB can kind of dictate the schedule. Mm-hmm. They can, if they want to cram all 162 back into this, I think there's a way to do it.
Yeah, 7-inning doubleheaders and stuff they're talking about.
Not the most popular, but then again, like we can say that now, but rain has a way of working itself into this equation real fast.
Right.
So
whatever. And in Colorado, snow.
Yeah.
Especially in April. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So however you want to put it together, someone's going to laugh and say, yeah, I don't think it's going to work quite that way. I think it's possible to get as many games. Listen, they started on April 26th in 1995. They played 144 games. And I don't think they had any doubleheaders or even the notion of 7-inning doubleheaders then for sure. So could you get over 150 games and call it a season? Yeah, I think you can do that if this is real progress. If this is not, you're going to wipe out another week's worth of games most likely. And that's when, and I actually talked to Bobby Valentine about this on Monday night. And it was posted on my Twitter feed on SNY's page, where there's a really important date for Major League Baseball that is going to get wiped out if you start canceling more games. That's Jackie Robinson Day, April 15th. This year in particular, it would be the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson's debut. Wow. And remember, it was the 50th one in 1997 where they had the big ceremony at Shea Stadium. They retired his number. Everybody showed up. It was a huge event. You can make this a huge celebration again. But if you have to celebrate it on, I don't know, June 12th, just because you're not playing until you wiped out the games, it's you're missing a major opportunity. This is an American holiday, not holiday and everybody gets to skip work, but just this is a major event in American history. And to celebrate it on the day, on the field is super important. And we might lose that. If they don't get a deal within the next week, we're going to lose that opportunity.
Now, the amazing thing is they waited so long. The owners locked out the players, no proposals, nobody spoke for, 2 months. All of a sudden, we're getting close. And my opinion is, and I think a lot of people's opinion is, the owners know they have the calendar to their advantage, and maybe they can pressure them. And I think that's why they're doing it now. And the owners are moving a lot more now than they did last week and stuff like that. We are so close. We all were all excited last week when they extended the talks and went to the next day. And then we all had our heart broken. What you got? Are we going to have our heart broken again tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I stopped following my gut because my gut told me for years that nobody's going to be as stupid as they were in 1994.
I mean, when you look at it, Sweeney, we talk about this COVID. Everybody's coming off COVID now, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, we're going to all just learn how to live with it, whatever it is. This could be the first real sport that we actually get back. America's pastime. Jackie Robinson 75th, all this stuff, but it'd be a sport where we could have sellouts in the stands for the entire season. The country's been waiting for something to galvanize a little bit, and this is like one of those things that could be it. And now we're not going to meet for 2 months. We're going to sit there and go from 5 to 10 million while the players are asking for 100 million. And, at first, and now all of a sudden it looks like the owners are making that little bit more of a gesture. I just can't believe that they're that dumb, that they have a chance to own it. And instead they could go backwards.
And, I think the important thing to realize is that we are looking at it in terms of the immediate impact here, but what the players and owners are doing, they're setting their ground rules for the next 5 years of business.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And what's really at stake over the next 5 years is no less than $50 billion, and how to divide that up. So that's understandably bigger than Jackie Robinson Day or a couple of games here and there. They're trying to figure out how to make it work over the course of the next 5 years, not the next 2 months. So they're sacrificing this, and it looks awful, but there is certainly an element of just a bigger picture thing here that they really have to consider because of how much money is at stake and what they're trying to accomplish over the course of, a very long period of time here.
Now, obviously, me and Porterhouse, we're yeomans. We're so far in the background of what's going on. You're a little bit more inside. You have plenty of sources. You speak to a lot of people and stuff like that. From the outside looking in, I know I originally was, man, these players are right. Screw the owners. The fact that they are talking about how much money they lost through COVID, everybody lost money during COVID. Everybody except for Pfizer and Moderna, but everybody lost money. Okay, you can't say we have to make up that money in the next 5 years because nobody's going to be able to do it. Really, make believe it didn't happen. You move on. It's easy for me to say it's not my money, but now the owners have really, and again, it's only been the last couple of days, have really, really closed the gap. I think considerably from what they were offering originally. It's almost like they've reached the halfway point. We're the outsiders looking in. So there's more intricacies to the deal, but just looking like us, a fan, they're sitting there saying, hey, why aren't they signing this deal? Everybody made a deal. Everybody got closer. They made a decision. They both compromised. Why can't this get this done? There's a lot of little things that we know nothing about. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of little things that I know nothing about too. I mean, it's a very complicated deal. Like I said, this is a deal that it is, when it's finished and signed, it's hundreds of pages, and it's basically trying to figure out how to divvy up $50 billion or more. I mean, you don't do that in the back of a cocktail napkin. These are not fantasy trades. You just knock out.
What would you know about fantasy trades?
You never returned anybody's offers. That's beside the point. And I think Johnson & Johnson did well also. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson did okay.
I feel like, to your point, Bill, I think, and I just really thought of it this way. It's sure the people who own the teams lost money during COVID, but they didn't lose houses or income, or that would cost, that would affect how they feed their family or what they do with the family. They're the ones, and I shouldn't say just MLB owners, but the people who ran businesses, like large businesses, they're the ones who had to